like and subscribe.
What happens when fame becomes a death sentence? When admiration crosses the line into obsession? This is the story of Miss Mercedes Morr, an online sensation beloved by millions whose life ended in a brutal act of violence. A story that shook the influencer world and forced a confrontation with the darker side of internet fame. At 33 years old, she had become a major presence on Instagram and OnlyFans, with 2.7 million followers and recognition from celebrities including Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, and Drake. On August 29th, 2021, the digital world was stunned by the death of model and influencer Janae Garnier, known to her followers as Miss Mercedes Morr. She was found dead in her Richmond, Texas apartment, the victim of a murder-suicide carried out by a man who had become obsessed with her online persona. Janae was born on November 25, 1987 in El Paso, Texas, to Mark Garnier and Janetta Grover. Raised between two households, her father's in California and her mother's in Texas, she experienced both structure and creative freedom. From an early age, she displayed entrepreneurial drive. At just 12, she was braiding hair in her family's garage, charging clients alongside her friends. Her high school years were marked by frequent relocations and confrontations with peers, often stemming from envy. After graduation, she briefly studied to become a dental assistant, but soon relocated to Las Vegas, where she began dancing in clubs under the name Mercedes Morr. The name Mercedes symbolized luxury, while Morr represented her insatiable desire for more opportunities, more income, more independence. Though her parents initially disapproved of her dancing career, they couldn't ignore her success. She was earning thousands of dollars every weekend. But for Janae, her ultimate goal was to build a personal brand, and she leveraged her growing visibility to enter the world of online influence. Her presence on Instagram, combined with her magnetic personality, helped her rapidly rise in popularity. Living in Houston, she connected with well-known artists and celebrities, and even spent time in VIP sections with figures like Drake. But what set her apart was her grounded demeanor. She treated everyone equally, regardless of their fame or following. Eventually, she transitioned fully into modeling and content creation. She was preparing to launch her own leggings line, working on a hair extensions business, and speaking at motivational events. She was emerging as a prominent young Black entrepreneur in Houston. In her final months, Janae seemed happier than ever. She had met someone who embraced her fully, and they were planning to move into a new home together. For the first time, she was speaking about starting a family, getting married, and building a future. To those who knew her, Janae and Mercedes were two distinct identities. Mercedes was the confident, public-facing influencer, vibrant, humorous, and bold. Her live streams were filled with music and laughter. Her TikToks were goofy and lighthearted. She had a magnetic energy that drew people in, whether she was teaching a photographer how to dance mid-shoot or joking with fans. In Houston, she was instantly recognizable. Her posts showcased her in form-fitting athletic wear, dancing, posing, and radiating confidence. But behind the glamour was a woman who loved simple pleasures. Roast chicken dinners with her dad, spa days with her mom, or bike rides with her younger sister. She laughed at herself, embraced her imperfections, and found joy in everyday moments. Her public image, highly curated, visually stunning, larger than life, fueled fantasies and millions of followers. But it was that very fantasy that blurred the line between admiration and obsession for one particular stranger. Janae's final days were filled with plans and excitement. She had asked her father to stay with her at her new home while she awaited her boyfriend's arrival. She was organizing a trip for her mother to meet her partner and was eager to decorate her new space. But someone was watching her. someone who had mistaken her online presence for a personal connection. On August 29, after days without any social media activity, friends grew concerned. For someone whose livelihood depended on regular posting, the silence was alarming. That morning, Janae's younger sister contacted their father. He rushed over to Janae's apartment in Richmond. Her car was in the garage, but she didn't respond to knocks or calls. He broke down the door. At the foot of the stairs lay Janae's body, and upstairs he found a man, wounded, with a knife embedded in his body. The apartment was covered in blood. The man was still alive, but barely. He died shortly after police arrived. Janae was found partially undressed, her body positioned in a way that suggested something was wrong. Upstairs, in her bedroom, lay Kevin Alexander Accordo, a 34-year-old man from Florida. He had stabbed himself repeatedly and bled throughout the apartment. The scene revealed clear signs of a violent struggle. The walls were smeared with handwritten messages and lipstick, including disturbing phrases like, "I was used for money," "I should have stayed in Florida," and "I wish I never met her." According to the medical examiner, Janae was strangled and suffered a traumatic concussion. Accordo died by suicide, having inflicted multiple stab wounds upon himself. Kevin Accordo was a 34-year-old from Wellington, Florida, and had no prior criminal records and no known personal connection to Janae. He was, by all accounts, a stranger who had become dangerously obsessed. Investigators believed he tracked her down by piecing together information from social media. He then drove over 15 hours across state lines from Florida to Richmond, Texas, where Janae lived. The details suggest he may have waited for her to arrive home and followed her in. There were no signs of forced entry. The writings on the wall reflected delusional thinking, indicating that he had believed she had manipulated or betrayed him, despite no evidence the two had ever communicated. Janae's death sparked mourning and outrage. The influencer community was shaken. For many, it felt like a horrifying wake-up call. The public exposure, even when carefully managed, can invite real-world danger. Because of her presence on platforms like OnlyFans, some commentators spread baseless theories about her lifestyle or tried to shift blame. But her family and friends were quick to refute this narrative. Janae had multiple income streams, lived independently, and had no relationship with her killer. She had taken steps to protect herself, like concealing her location on social media. But she did not have full-time security, and like many influencers, she let her guard down over time. In hindsight, her father reflected on the risks of fans sending gifts directly to her home, an exposure he wished he had recognized earlier. Public figures, including Cardi B, defended her legacy and demanded respect for her memory. The tragedy also prompted wider conversations about digital safety, especially for women whose work depends on visibility. Janae Garnier was more than a screen name. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend, and a woman with dreams. Her story is not just a tragedy, but a reminder. Behind every public persona is a real person, deserving of safety and dignity. The murder of Miss Mercedes Morr reveals the terrifying ease with which online admiration can turn into real-life violence, and it calls for change. Her life should not be reduced to the circumstances of her death. Her legacy lives on, not in fear, but in the light she brought to those who knew her. Rest in peace, Janae Garnier.